welcome back everybody to Mega Man 3. We're gonna start this new Mega Man playthrough. I don't know what to say about Mega Man 3. A lot of people consider it to be the best Mega Man game. I like Mega Man 2 better. Nostalgia, I'm sure. This game's good as well. It's, I don't know how to explain it. It's more fair, I think, than a lot of the other Mega Mans are. In terms of, there are less enemies that you sort of will attack you or will drop in on top of you without giving you much warning. That's a pretty good first example right there with the bees. You see the bee, he drops the honeycomb, and then the bees themselves don't initially attack you until, you know, you're given a second to see them, see what they're gonna do. This would be, I guess, the exception to the rule. And then, yes, we are going to have to slide in Mega Man 3. They introduced sliding in this game. I imagine if you didn't read the manual, you would not know that. The game tries to teach you how to slide, though. It is essentially down, pressing down and the jump button together. So that's the one new thing about this Mega Man game. The other thing that I should mention is they've fixed, I guess, the rest of the formula, if you will. You can get more than 4 E-tanks in this game, which in Mega Man 2 they just show up as dots. And they've introduced Rush Coil, and then you unlock the other 2 Rush upgrades, which in most games it's usually Rush Jet, and then usually some variation of a like an underwater craft that you can use with Rush. But that always tends to not be very useful, or it ends up being level specific. So, well, I believe we'll end up using it at some point. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Because, like I said, there's just not enough water in this game for it to really matter. I'm sure when we get to the Wily area, there's probably going to be something that's going to require us to use it. Pretty much like a section that we're going to have to use it exclusively. What else? This game's a little bit more, is a little longer in terms of Mega Man usually has a pretty set narrative, which is, hi, Mega Man, there's 8 robot masters, go fight them. And then once you beat those 8 robot masters, we're gonna go fight the boss in Mega Man 1 and 2. That was Wily. In this game, I guess I should mention, Wily is, how do I put this? He is not insane anymore, or at least that's how the guidebook tends to describe it. He's come to his senses, and him and Dr. Wright, or Dr. Light, have decided to work together to create a giant robot named Gamma, who is going to help bring peace to the world because it's a giant robot. I'm not exactly sure how those things go together, but they do. And then, in the meantime, there's a robot uprising led by a character known as Breakman, which we'll run into here eventually. If you've ever played any of the other later Mega Man games, 2 through, I guess, or if you know the Mega Man lore, you'll know who Breakman is. He's not really a villain per se, he's just hiding his identity. But essentially Breakman is leading a robot rebellion, and there are 8 robot masters like every other freaking game. And they have these elements that, or powers or something that, in order for Gamma to be completed, Mega Man needs to go get those back from the Robot Masters by defeating them. And then, of course, because it's a Mega Man game, you also gain their powers. And then as you go further in the game, eventually you unlock Rush Jet and we'll just call it Rush Ship or something. It's got a name for it, but I never seem to remember it because it's not important. This game is kind of... like I said, this game is fair. It's a lot fairer than a lot of the other Mega Man games that tend to, like, not show you what's in front of you and just be like, well, fucking learn it. Fucking memorize it. So I guess that's why a lot of people like it. Plus the slide adds a very interesting... I like the slide in these games. It adds an interesting dynamic to being able to evade. You know, obviously, without the slide, all you could do is attempt to dodge or jump over obstacles, bosses, creatures, etc. With the slide, it allows you to, if they give you the opportunity, slide underneath stuff that's in a block, you know, like a lower block. Also, you're gonna see this game is possibly the most generous of the Mega Man games when it comes to E-Tanks. Unless I misremember some of the later Mega Man games after 3, this game just drowns you in E-Tank. And just fine, because they've more or less, I wouldn't say they've created them in this game. They were in 2, but they were sort of as like little dots. I'm not exactly sure how to explain them without looking in the manual. Just exactly. Oh, I'm dead. Well, so I guess another thing I should say is, despite the fact that Mega Man is not that, it's a lot fairer game, I don't remember it very well. Like, I remember Mega Man 2 very well because I played it a whole bunch. I love that game a whole bunch. Mega Man 3 not so much. So like, you're probably gonna see me at some point try to use, like, I don't know, we'll say since we're on Magnet Man stage, I'm probably gonna try to use Magnet Man against, well, I know it's actually good against Hard Man. This may be a bad example, but like, you're gonna see me like probably use the wrong Robot Master power every time. And this is Break Man right here. Even though he clearly is not Break Man at this point, he's clearly just Proto Man. Whatever. I guess they didn't... I don't know if they ever bothered to fix the sprites on that, but long story short, I spoiled it. It's Proto Man. You'll find out a little bit more about him, I guess, when we get to the end of the game, but up to this point, he's sort of this mysterious character. As to, is he on your side? Is he on Wily's side? If you watch the cartoon, the American cartoon show that came out, or whoever made that cartoon, he sort of acts as Dr. Wily's number 2 man. But it's hard to tell if he's actually on Wily's side or not. I didn't watch enough of the show to know whether or not he's just sort of playing a role or not. So this block puzzle is not all that difficult. It's just they're introducing a new gimmick which is, you saw earlier in the stage, they gave you magnets. So we're going to introduce this thing that's going to pull Mega Man in addition to this. So what we want to do is jump here, jump to here, and wait for the last one to come, just like that. And now we're going to do it over a pit. So yeah, that's basically what you want to do, is you want to kind of, yeah, you don't want to do that. That's how you die. You want to do that. And then, yeah, see how easy that puzzle was? Now we're going to do it again, but we're going to ignore that bottom block because that bottom block is more or less death. And that was an easy puzzle. See? Not as difficult as Mega Man 2, which I completely ignored because I had Rush. I had whatever. The equivalent of Rush Jet. I don't think there's as much enemy variation in this comparison to some of the other later games. Like, I wouldn't say that every enemy was unique in Mega Man 2, that you would, like, each area had its own unique set of enemies, but everyone did seem to have a set of enemies that was more or less unique to that area. And then you had a couple enemies like the bats that seemed to cross over between levels. And in this game, there's a lot of just repetitive enemies with very few that only appear, if any, that just appear in one stage. So, criticism, benefit, I don't know. My biggest criticism of this and a lot of the later Mega Man games is they tend to get a little too ambitious in some ways, and they tend to push the system too far, causing slowdown. And I know slowdown exists in 2 as well, but it doesn't seem as prominent to me. Like, I particularly don't want any slowdown when I'm fighting a boss. We'll figure this out, don't worry. It's pretty simple. He's just gonna jump over you and then throw 3 magnets, and what you want to do is you want to, as he's throwing those magnets, either run away from him or slide under the last of the three magnets. And then of course slide under him as he tries to jump over you. Mainly because it just moves you quicker across the screen and reduces your hitbox into from a square to more of like a ground laid rectangle. Not doing very good though. Well, you can see his pattern's not super difficult, it's a matter of getting that damage in there as soon as he comes free. And then, you know, obviously sticking to your guns, because if you see what I mean? If you give him too much distance, you can't actually, you don't seem to you won't shoot him. But if you're too close, he will do crash damage to you. Yeah, that's kinda, I should have shot him there and not taken crash damage. Again, I just took more crash damage, so I gotta use an E-tank in order to finish off this fight. And I'm not doing super great either, look at this. I'm already back down to half health. Alright, well, I really don't care about this one anymore. And I beat him by the skin of my teeth. Da-da-da. I must say, this game is probably the easiest. I'm gonna eat shit, I know, by saying this, but I think this game is probably, of the Mega Man games, probably the easiest to, if you're not super familiar with it, Buster only it. Like, some of the other games, like I'm thinking 4 in particular, very difficult to do a Buster only run. And this game, I think, while you'll get challenged as you get closer to the Wily Castles. You know, the end of the game is what I'm trying to say. Like, these Robot Masters, I think, are a little bit easier to deal with Buster only. It's definitely... that sucks. It's definitely easier than, say, I always think of 4. I don't know why. Again, I might be misremembering, but I just remember 4's bosses being so horribly difficult to deal with, where, you know, weaknesses to certain items don't seem to be much of a weakness at all, and, you know, a lot of the game is centered around the charge buster that they give you in that game, and you spend a lot of time like dodging, charging, and then eventually hopefully damaging. Magnet Mountain's power is not super great. You eat through it very quickly, and while it does target, it doesn't seem to do a great job on all the enemies. Some of the enemies it's great on, other enemies it's like, eh. It has I think every weapon has its you know, its trade-offs, obviously. Like right here, Magnet Man should be super good against him, but like it took like 3 hits to get rid of him. So I don't know. One of the odd parts about Mega Man 3, I guess, is you can see they're very generous with the health items, and eventually you'll see where I sort of farm some E-tanks. Not here per se, but you know. Oh, fuck you, monkey. What am I trying to say? Tend to be very generous, and this maybe this is all later Mega Man games, you know, but the thing is, like, despite the fact that they've ratcheted up the difficulty a little bit, and you know, enemies like that take a little couple more hits and have very specific hitboxes. Here's an E-tank. See, that's what I mean. I got an E-tank from this level earlier, and I know I did use it against a Magnet Man, but like, if I were to die, if I were to not use the E-tanks and I keep trying to do this level, I could farm, I think, up to 9 E-tanks, which is sort of game-breaking, but what are you gonna do? Oh good, we're gonna fight Proto Man again. Of course, we knew that already. Or did we? No, we didn't. I don't think I got this far in my original run to Hard Man. But again, the downside of getting all this free health is if you're heavily relying on it and then you die, the health does not respawn on your next life. So like, you have to wait for a full continue to go by, so like, the run just becomes more difficult as you go back to either the beginning or midpoints of the stage. It's like, they dealt like 90% of my damage, and I had to use those big health re-heals in order to get through the level. It's like, well, they're not there anymore. So get good. Alright, so I know he's bad against Magnet Man. But we're going to attempt to kill him anyways with our buster because we want to be dickholes. His pattern's not difficult, it's just these punches that get kind of annoying. Because they do kind of like target. I'm gonna have to use an E-tank. Because I used the ball. The downside here is I used the ball of Magnet Man's power, so I can't use it here on the boss when I really should have saved it for the use on this boss. But again, I don't think Hard Man's all that hard, so like, just a matter of getting around his punches. That was my big downfall or problem there. I have 0 Mega Mans left though, so we're probably just gonna have to kill ourselves immediately. You got hard knock. Ooh. So you can slide down here. I'm not going to do that because I want the health that's up here. But I'm probably going to die. Oh, by the way, I edited out the quick death in Top Man stage, so we're right back to having essentially full lives. Another nice thing about, I guess, about Mega Man, this Mega Man game is, and I'm not sure if it's going to be in every Mega Man game because I seem to remember it being the opposite of what I'm thinking of right now, but every time I defeat a robot master, they just refill all of my weapons. And I noticed that in Mega Man 2 as well, that they just refill the weapons when you beat a boss, which is great because, like, sometimes you use Rush Jet or Jet Rush Coil a lot, and then you end up in another stage that requires the heavy use of Rush Jet or Rush Coil. It's like, I don't have any way to heal this other than to... Yeah, you didn't see that, did you? Didn't know that was there. Nifty, huh? So you want to go up top here? You don't have to go up top right now, but you're going to want to go up top after this section right here, because the E-Tank is up here. And we're just going to wait for this guy to get out of my way. And if you can deal damage, great. If not, just slide through him. See, we killed him. But if he did damage, just use your invincibility frames to slide through that area. Fuck you, Mets. Alright, we didn't take any damage there. Are we cool? Oh, we're gonna take damage. That's okay. Mets can be some of the most troublesome enemies in a game. Oh, fuck this cat. I hate this cat so much. This is like the, whatever you want to call that, the fox, wolf mini-boss, but it's more annoying because he's got little, like, you know, yarn balls that he uses to, like, he just sits up on this little, you know, pedestal, like a cat would, of course. He sits up on top of your bookcase, swatting it at all of your expensive, you know, glass items, and you just sit there like, okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't want to fight him. Yeah, we're gonna use Magna Man's power just to get rid of the Met as well, because I don't have enough. I don't really have HP to mess with this. I hate this. I hate this jump so much. They put that jump in a couple Mega Man games, and it's fucking obnoxious. Yeah, I'm gonna take some damage here, and then we'll I'm gonna have to probably, I was gonna say I'll probably have to use this, to farm some life, but I guess we're okay. At least if I can get to the boss. I missed the jump. Sad face. I got a little confused there. Now I'm taking lots of damage. That was dumb. Let's see how you fight the cat for real. This is how you fight the cat for real. Yeah, also he throws fleas, which makes me want to throw up. I'm just shooting fleas out, just ugh, gives me the heebie-jeebies.